So now we're starting. We went to the Ramak yesterday, and now we're starting this new piece. And I think what we should do is read it the long way, and then come back. First of all, at the very top, reading the words of the Sifra Tzniota, it says Yom Elokim Yehi Ma'oros. Okay, so this is the Ma'oros written without the vav, the Rekia Shemayim and the Rekia the Shemayim. So it seems like we're going to work on those words. Shalit dachar benukfa. So there causes shlita of the dachar, the male aspect, over the female dechsiv, and he says why? Why is it dechsiv? We have a pasuk that tzaddik yisod olam. The tzaddik is the yisod of the olam. So he says yisod. We mean refers to tzaddik, and olam refers to malchus nahir and nahir yud betrin. So the yud shines into two. I'm not sure what that means. Of the nahir ma'aver lenukva, and then it shines and ma'aver, and I guess it passes it into the nukva. Is yachid yud b'luchud. This might be a different one. I think that's the end of that. That's the end of that. Okay, so let's make a little mark there so I don't get confused. All right, now if we go back to page Kuf Nun Zayin, then over here we're going to read the blurb at the top. It says, Akashasayim the buyer latest Vitikun Zeranpin. So now we're talking about the birth of Zeranpin. I don't know, what were we talking about that? Yivayr Ata Vitikun the Nukva the Zeranpin. Let's talk about that. Yivayr Ki Nukva the Sakenet Ba'ofen Zeranpin Sholet Ba. So she is built by the way of the control of being controlled by Zeranpin. Vein the Kabbalas Orasako Ella Al Yado, and her lights only come through him. L'chein kasach or benukva ma'aros or ma'oros without chaser vav. Besod miut v'chisaron, which is a concept of something missing. Obviously, the vav is missing. But na'asis tfeilo the rekia, so therefore she needs. I mean, I'm thinking this is my drush, but he says that therefore she needs the vav. But na'asis tfeilo the rekia shemayim should become tafel to that. So the Zer Anpin, which is the Yesod of Zer Anpin. So I think he's going to make a distinction between the Rekia and the Shemayim. The Shemayim being Zer Anpin or Tiferes, and Rekia referring to Yesod. I think I saw that. Shuhu Makam Shoresha Nukva, because there is the place that is the source of the root of the Nukva, is from the Rekia Shemayim. That's what he said, because Shahu's Yisod Zer Anpin, Shahu Makom Shor Shanukva Besod the Taras Yisod. Actually, she's an extension of the Yisod itself. She's the tip of the Yisod. Commotion Abba the Tzaddik Yisod Oilam. So here we see the Tzaddik, which is the Yisod of the Zachar Yisod Oilam, is able to be Mesak in the Nuk. V'Yavar Kitahidach and V'Mehur Abba Zer Anpin V'Nukva. So originally, what you have here is Abba shining into Zer Anpin and the Nuk, besod Abba Yasad Barta. So there's always been a question that we've seen in other places of how it is that Abba, who's on the right line, is mashpia to the Nukva. This is a very interesting thing I think I saw here. He says because the Nukva is really attached mostly, or gets her shefa mostly from the left line. That's what I thought. Kitachida b'meir Abba b'zer v'nuk, b'sod Abba Yasad Barta. V'achar kach meirin hamochin the ima. Then after that, the mochin of ima shine b'zer anpin, b'ovrim al achrei zer anpin, and they pass through onto the back of zer anpin, the v'nais shom as parts of a nukva. So what do we have here? We say that the Abba shines into both of them. Then after that, the nuk Bina, which is the other side, shines into the parts of the Nuk. So let's read on. Let's read what it says. It says, B'yom Revi the Shesh Shemei Barosha. So on the fourth day of creation, the pasuk says, Nama v'yom Elokim Yehi Ma'oros B'Rikia Shemayim. Okay, so that's a phrase over there. V'yidach b'pasuk zeh arech b'inyan etzilus nukva dezer anpen agidach ma'atza le'elyon, and this is sounding like the let's just read the I guess the birth of the nukva of Zer Anpin through the ma'atza le'elyon. Kizer v'nuk ne'kwayim pasuk shnei ma'oros, because in the pasuk the zocher v'nuk are called the two ma'oros. Here it has a vav. The kan kasev ma'oros chaser os vav, but here we see that it's written without a vav. Shu lashon me'era with the chisaron. Me'era means lashon of a curse, and the chisaron is missing something. It's like a me'era. Lefi sheromas the nukva de zer anpin. That who becomes minimized, or she shrinks, or what's the right word? And she's missing and lacking. And then as a result of that, she becomes the small light. So here's another idea. He says that the Indian here is of his matas is the ki shalet dachar benukva, because the male dominates. Shachazachar shuhu zer anpin sholet al nukva, he controls the nukva. So the davar chusa, this is the secret of this. Shanukta tzarika the kabel as kol orasachum in zer anpin baila. This means that the transfer has to come from her husband, that's zer anpin. Ki zer anpin mekabel min ava ve'ima heimachasade ve'hegavuras, because all of the growing, the material, the catalyst for material comes through zer anpin. And then after that, he brings that with that aspect of the seed. I guess what's the right word? Is the mayim, it's the water that grows the garden. He says, so we'll take a little break here. We got a little break on there. That will just remind us that we're zocha to hear these tremendous words of the Rashby. And we're trying to get as close as we can to Hashem Yisbarach while we are waiting for this to come back, and here it is. Okay, so now we said so then after that the 50% that comes in, or the 5 gevuras, are going to go into the nukva, so she doesn't get the lights by herself. Only through her husband zer anpin. So therefore he really controls her. He's the upper waters of the Nile River, so to speak, Meno. So therefore, was the last word, Rashby, of Alecha v'yigdol mimeno. So I'm a little confused about Mimena, as she grows up from these Gevuros. So here we have this concept now, the Ma'oros from the Rikiya of Shemayim, missing vaults. Pirush Rikiya of Shemayim, who Yisod is their anpin. This phrase Yisod Hashemayim refers to the Yisod of their anpin, Ki Shemayim hu their anpin, Rikiya hu Yisod. Ma'oros, which is like written like Ma'eros, Shucha HaNukva, Tichiyet Fedel, the Kabbalah of the Sachum, in Yisod is their anpin. She has to be subjugated or less in order for her to be able to receive the lights. Min Yisod is their anpin, and Nikra Rikiya Shemayim, that Yisod is called the Rikiya, and the Shemayim is their anpin. Or zer anpin, it's the Ferris. They said the Zechet Shekosov in Mishle, but Tzaddik Yisod Olam, it's the Tzaddik who becomes the foundation for Olam, which is Malchus. Pirush Tzaddik Shuhu Yisod is zer anpin, who miyached as a nukva hanikras Olam. So all of these different phrases and catches, we're going to go over some of that. By Inyan, so he says the Inyan goes like this. He says, Ki hanukva devuka tamed b'yisod zer anpin. She begins as the the tip of Zeranpin. And she's always doubled the Zeranpin. Can nukva b'techilas tzivulsa. Also, besod nukuda tachas yisod, besod the taras yisod. Now, the way he writes it sounds like it's underneath. But I think he means that the yisod is pointed downwards and she's at the bottom of it. I think that's what I would think it meant. Tachas yisod, besod the taras yisod, who sod keser the nukva, which is the place of the keser the nukva. But then after that, besod parts of it, she becomes now 10 spheros. Adain nishar shorish nukva dava b'yisod besod taras yisod. But even so, she's still attached to him. Now this is interesting because it's not like she was separated and then he or she, they work their ways together. Here he says, Adain nishar shorish nukva, her root, no matter, always remains davok b'yisod, b'yisodo, I guess b'yisod, besod the taras yisod. She's at the tip of the yisod. The nimshach nukva ne'achazan nishreshes b'yisod b'timido. So he said, this is not something like she's separated and comes back together to him. She's always attached to him at this point. Then here's this phrase. What does that mean? He says the yud itself shines into two. He abishahu sod the word yud, the letter yud rather. So Abba Mama od nahir yud betrin. He says ke abishahu sod os yud shel shem havaya. Meir b'shnei partzufim zer v'nuk zer anpin v'nukve. Shehem sod osius vav dal. So he says that the yud shines into the other two letters, shal milo yud vav dal. So they're also in a sequence. V'ha'inyan hu k'letzorach b'nei binyan guf anukva, for the purpose of this. Tzorach makom mekodim l'hoyer ha'aris abba. So this is ha'aris, not ha'or, not with missing the vav. This is, she has to have shined into her the light of Abba. So the pasuk, there's pasuk Havaya b'chochma yasad eretz. It's a Havaya using chochma yasad eretz. He's able to found or build up the nukva. Sha'al yedecha b'chochma shuhu Abba nisyasta ha'aretz shuhu ha'nukva. The nair, and then it shines v'oz me'irin ha'mochi de'ima. Okay, it's another short interruption here. And Rebbe apparently has like a timer on his phone. So there we go. Okay, and he said, "But no, here v'oz me'irin ha'mochen de'ima ma'avid l'nukva," and they passed the. Let's read again. But no, here v'oz me'irin ha'mochen de'ima. Then after that, you have a ha'ara coming from ima, ma'avid l'nukva. And they passed these lights to the place of the nukva where she located in the back of Zeranpin. Was Nigdelif and the Sakenis called parts of the nukva. So then you see that it grows and they build up and they build all the parts of the nukva Achre Zeranpin in the back of Zeranpin. So there's a lot of interesting things here, and let's just look a little bit at it. And we'll try to pick up there's a couple of notes here that are worthwhile if we have time to get to them. He said Biyoma Revi, so let's go back over here. Biyoma Revi, the Shesh Shemei Bereshis, Ne'ema Biyoma Elokim Yehi Ba'oraz B'Chapakakir Shemayim V'Hine Posuk Zecha Ba'ari Be'inyan Netzilus Nukfa V'Zer Anpen Ayedecha Ma'atza La'Elya. So she comes out, and she develops as a result of the matzah. Kizer Zer V'Nuk. They're called they're called by this name, Avshnei Ma'oros. Lakan Kasa, but actually is written like this, Ma'eros. Osvav is missing. Shahu Lashon Ma'era V'Kisara. Visha Romas the Lukva is their Anpen. Shiniz Mata V'Nexu V'Na'asa B'Sod or Hakatan Sham. So let's go, Sham. So let's go see what number Aleph has got to tell us here. And Here's number Aleph. He says, Rebbe Peter Marie Saruk. Oh, Baruch Hashem, we're back to the Rebbe Marie Saruk. I just have such a taste for him. Shabir Kambazal Shana Patach Devara, he said, Mule Shekatango, Shekatargo, Shekatargo, Nukve, okay, Shekitriga, Nukve, so that she made a complaint. So he says, if it wasn't for that, she would be equal to Zeranpin. He cast her echad, but since she says, wait a minute, there's only one source here. There's a cast her echad law of the Zeranpin, so everything has to come to both of them. She says, Kitruga of the Omra, the Asher, the Shnei Malachim, the Yishtam, the cast her echad. That's the rest of that quote. I guess it's a medrash. So then the Kodesh Baruch said, well, you get small. So they'll go back to being that little dot at the end of the Yisod of Zeranpin. Now, I just want to think about this. Laki ma'atis atzmech. Kolomer tachsur l'sod nukuda. So the question is that in my mind is that so he made Zoch and Nuk and they were equal to begin with. So we don't really see that too much. All that we talk about is the fact of building up the Nukva. Okay, but so therefore should be subjugated by him. She was there Ampin. Ye Shalom Allah, so he should be in control over you. The Mzechah said Ma'oros Chasivav. So that's it, since the Vav, she needs the Vav. She feels that she's missing the Vav. That's my interpretation. Which is the message that you're missing. It is sort of a golol. So it's a lack. It's a flaw or a lack, and a curse, which is empty. Ma'oros, that word romez al nukva. So this ma'oros without the vav refers to the nukva. Shenifra b'menu vav, that she's separated from her. The vav separates from her. Shehu zerampin. Nikra l'harka shemesh, that he's called in relationship to her, he's called the sun. He Nikras rak yerech, and she's only called the moon. So if the sun shines on the moon, that's that metaphor. Vakan. So then he says, Ray Mansha Sivan, I don't know how you pronounce it, Shitsuyan. We point out here, Bior Bigorin, Khan, there's more on this. Ray Od Baharos, there's going to be more coming up. So let's look, let's see, let's do one more because this is rather delicious. So to me, so let's read after number Aleph and we'll pick up this little bet down at the bottom. It says, so what's shot there? Why does she have to make herself small? Is because the process has to be that the Zohar comes first, that he has to be in the driver's seat. So let's see number bet and what we could get here out of number bet. So number bet says, so he says this Samach Yud means Sfarim Yushanim. So old Sfarim, old Sfarim. Shlim Adach of a Nok, completion of the Zach of a Nok. Then Nelson with the Fush Kushta. I think he said that's Istanbul or that's Turkey. I don't know. I thought he said that. Nelson with the Fush Kushta. Boyim Akrab and those others. So listen, we're going through the Gerses or the different publications. But listen, the Fusim Rishonim. So this idea, what's the idea? Benidfas Shlim Adach of the Nok. I don't know. If he wants to say that phrase doesn't exist here. So this was from Montova and Cremona, our famous place, with the Tzavach Amsterdam of Zul Tzavach and Amsterdam. I don't know what Zul Tzavach is. Anyway, it became became a Ksiviyat. Now, I'm not sure what he's saying here. Reba Hadras Melech Shabir base Girsos Gam Yachav is Elishon. So he's apparently there's something in here that we don't have. He says Charlotte Dacher Benufo, that's one. Ki Oza Chasadim Shal Zacher Godrim Shlimo Dacher Benufo. So they're the ones that Govrim, where they cause, I guess, shlemus between the Dacher and Benufo Adkan. صار بيرجع قام ماشي بيرجع كيرفزو بزور خالد يسأل كيم ناسك شو دخل جيرس أميديس he shortly دخل بنوب and that's it. So apparently there was a question about how the Girsa was because of different publications. Okay, so I guess we'll stop here and today is the 27th. Today's 27th Sivan. Okay, so we'll do that, and then we'll come over here and we'll look at